Good morning, everyone. Today on the podcast, we have with us Arjun Badola. Many of you might have seen him on Twitter and read his fantastic in-depth articles and blogs. Welcome on the podcast.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for having me.
Great to finally have you on the podcast. My first question to you is, as many of the people might know, that you are from a law college, like you're pursuing law as a career stream. My first question to you is, how was your early education life looked like, and why you decided to pursue law in the first place?
I think to the decision to pursue law was decided in 10th standard, I believe, because
Okay,
even though I had scored good marks in science, but I was aware
yeah,
that it was all rote learning, and as soon as I would get into science stream, I won't be able to deal with chemistry because my chemistry was, even though I scored good marks, I knew it was all rote learning. I could not understand it. So that was the time when I realized that I think commerce is something which might be of my interest,
yeah,
and then it was basically through my consultation with my parents where I came to know that logical reasoning is a very huge aspect of law, and even if you do law, it's not compulsory to get into any law firm or any law business. You can also pursue further studies, or you can get into some other field as well. It's law
got it.
is just like a graduate, which you can. It opens your. There are a lot of options even after
Like
law.
it's like the base for the other things, right?
Correct. Yes. So it's not like if you do engineering, so you can just get into those fields. But law is much more open ended. So we decided that okay, even if later in life I realize that law is not for me, we might extend to some other field. But fortunately, as I entered law school, currently I'm in my final year of my law school. It's a
Uh,
5-year course, BBA LLB, where I'm in Jindal Global Law School. It's in Sonipat, Haryana. So fortunately, when it started, I started enjoying my classes because it was all about logical reasoning. And if I think I've mentioned this on Twitter as well. When I met Professor Sanjay Bakshi, even he had advised me that it's very good if you are pursuing law, because in law, what happens when you read those judgments, there is a proper rationale behind those judgments, and there's a chain of logical reasoning. So if you're in law, you understand how to think logically, which is very
mm,
beneficial for the stock market as well, because when all frizzy and all the market is going up and up, the logical reasoning takes a backseat there. So as being a law student, that was a little advantage which I had when I was studying about markets. So that is what I think. Logical reasoning, I would say, is the main. If you believe you're interested in logical reasoning, law could be a very good career for you. So I think, yeah, that is how I got into law school. And after this is my final semester, and after that I'll be working in a law firm as a uh, let's see, I'll try to get into capital markets or something.
Fantastic. All the best for that. And
Thank
my
you.
next question, follow-up question to you is like, how did logical reasoning, like you mentioned it, logical reasoning, there's a proper procedure about how each judgment is taken place, and there's a reason behind it. So that helped you in logical reasoning, right? What are the other ways to like kind of achieve the same set of logical reasoning, right? Because that may be the one way to do that, maybe, but there will also be other ways to do that, right?
I think there is no set way to improve yourself in logical reasoning. It
Yeah,
comes with experience. You can,
got
but
it.
if you want to talk about specific to stock market, having mentors is a great way to improve your logical reasoning,
Got it.
because they can tell you where, even if they can't teach you, they can tell you where to look at, and that is a very, like, they can give you a direction, even though they won't push you towards, they won't spoon feed you, but they can always tell you that this is a direction, this is how it has been. And then it should come from within that, where you start questioning things. That is also one advantage law brought with me, that you start to question everything. You don't believe if a company is disclosing that um, this much happened, let's say this much growth happened, or we are going to double our revenues in next 1 year. So you don't take it at face value. You see whether it is actually possible. What if the market itself is degrowing and they are not able to take market share, nothing is happening? Then we of course know that the companies might not be, they're just buffering the investors interest.
Yeah,
So that is a very that is where the logical reasoning and the questioning aspect of law brought in. So I think to improve logical reasoning is through reading, through talking to people, and having mentors in that specific field is the only way, I think, because it comes with experience. It is like if I might have gone from 0 to 1, there is a lot of learning still left, because in the logical reasoning aspect itself. So I think, yeah, it comes from the experience.
Fantastic, fantastic. My next question to you is, how did the writing bug bite you, right? When did you start writing and publishing your ideas, right? And what were the initial days of just starting out? What technology did you use to write publish those blogs?
So I think my initial writing bug started when I came across this Paul Graham's. Paul Graham is a venture capitalist who also has a blog, and I came across his blog via my cousin. One of my cousin had recommended me to read his article. He had written one article, "Life is Short," and when I read his blog, the it came to my mind that why can't I do it? Like, even I should start sharing. And the another concept. So two things. Well, first was Paul Graham's blog, and the second was the concept of learning in public.
Yeah,
So the concept of learning of public is that as you're learning along, I think you're also doing a fantastic job with that. As
uh-huh,
you're learning, you keep reaching out to people. You ask whether you have done it right or not. You take people's opinion and you keep improving yourself. So it's like a
correct,
documentary which is going online, where people can see, and they can give you their opinion. And this also acts as a feedback loop, where
correct,
you feedback loop where you can attract similar people of your interest, and they can tell you, okay, these are the initial rookie mistakes which we did, and it can relatively faster improve your learning process. So I think these two were the initial things. And I remember Paul Graham had written one wonderful blog which was titled "Putting Ideas into Words." And in
uh,
that article, he mentioned that to convey any idea, when you sit down and start writing the idea, you go through a severe test. So going through that severe test is very important, because like right now you and me are talking, and we might be aware, like, okay, we know what interest rates are, because ऐसे ऊपर ऊपर से बात हो जाती है, and we know what interest rates are. But when you try to sit down and you try to explain what happens when interest rates are raised or when they are lowered, you will realize there are a lot of things to learn.
correct.
this Because people will say, ignore macroeconomics, sirf micro pe focus karo, but it's very interesting to read about how interest rates works. And so it's a very basic concept, but when you try to sit down and write it down, let's assume you can just go and write it in your diary for yourself and think you are explaining to a 4-year-old or 5-year-old, then you realize there are so many aspects which you were not aware of. And just to understand that topics, you end up going deep into some other things. So when I was trying to understand this, I went into how concept of money started. So I went to the very end. So it's very interesting. So that is when I thought I should start writing. And when you start writing, I believe there are 4 stages with writing, or let's say anything which you are learning. So there will be stage 1, when you think you don't know anything. That is when you have not even touched any book about that topic. Then comes
Yeah,
stage 2, when you think, okay, I know it all, which happened
yeah,
in 2020 or 2021, where everybody
yeah,
thought they know everything about stock market.
yeah.
Then comes the stage 3, where you realize, okay, you know very little of it, and there is a lot to learn about. And then comes the stage 4, where it's a continuous journey, where you have achieved a lot of knowledge, but still you are aware that there is an ocean of
Lot to
knowledge.
learn. Yeah,
Correct. Yes, exactly. There is an ocean of knowledge, and in your lifespan, you can only get a little bit of that ocean. So that is when you realize that you need to be humble, and you need to be open to the other people's opinions. So yeah, I think that is what how my learning experience about writing has gone.
yeah, yeah. Fantastic. The thing that you mentioned about learning in public, right? I would recommend every person to do that, because when you like put out what all things you are learning, will also tell their opinions and views, right? And then through those things you also learn through them, right? Like this thing feedback loop you said, right? That
Correct.
enhances your learning like 10x. Like if you would have taken 1 month to learn this part of thing, it would reduce the timeline to like 10 to 20 days, right?
Correct. So to add on to that, if you look at, if I give my example, all my mentors, whomever I got contacted with for investing, all of them I met through my writing. So I use
Wow.
the CCL blog which I wrote. Through that, I met Ashwini Damani and Ishmohit Arora, who is founder of SOIC now.
Yeah.
Then through Manapuram Finance and Muthoot Finance blog, I met Professor Sanjay Bakshi. Then Ashish Kila sir also I met through various writings and interactions. So it's a lot of investors. Sahil Sharma also, who is very active on Twitter. So a lot of investors I met. Even Saurabh Kumar sir, he read my ICICI Securities blog, and then we got interaction. So it's very helpful to if you want to network, because you can start learning something, but if you're meeting someone, there should be something which you can show, right? So if you
Correct.
have a
Proof of
blog,
work.
correct,
Yeah.
proof of work, that's the word. So if you're meeting someone, you can't just every time when you meet them, you can't just go and explain, okay, this is what I'm doing. If you
Yeah.
have something written there, they will of course go back. If they are interested, they'll go back and check your blog out. So that's a very
Correct.
proof of work is very important.
Correct. Correct. Fantastic. What was the first blog you published? Like, how did that like start happen? It, what was that first blog about?
Yeah, so it's a very funny story. So I started in 2020. It was
Yeah.
16 January that day, and
Uh,
it was, I think, COVID lockdown had not started that time.
yeah.
So I was at my home, and my brother had come to visit us for holidays, and I had some startup idea that time. I was into that startup phase where I wanted to bring some startup idea and wanted to work on it. So I went to my brother. I pitched my idea to him, and he started grilling me on that idea, and it went to such a level that I was about to cry. So that grilling was so severe, and it was not a healthy criticism as well. It was a very harsh criticism. So I got very angry, and I was like, well, how should I vent it out? So I decided, okay, I should write it down. So I went to WordPress, I opened a blog, and I wrote my first post. It was something criticism, something like that, where I was telling that, okay, sometimes people just criticize you for the sake of it, and they don't actually realize what the idea is. So that was an
Yeah.
anger post which I started with. And then I started having fun. So I
Wow.
started writing every week. And now it's been 3 years since I'm writing these blogs.
Fantastic. How did you scale from WordPress to the various platforms, and where is your current blog hosted on?
Yeah, so this also has a interesting journey. So what happened? I initially started with WordPress.com, where you just pay some. I think it was 1,500 rupees at the start,
Yeah.
and I started with WordPress.com. Then I shifted to WordPress.org, and the
Mm-hmm.
decision to shift there was because I was if you might you might have noticed, when you start
Yeah.
learning anything and if you start googling about it, it's all over your internet.
Correct.
So whenever you visit YouTube, or you open Google or any social media, the things will start popping up on your screen.
Correct. The AI
So when I
algorithm will recommend it from through every platform to you.
correct, it will start coming up everywhere. So what happens then uh, what happened with me was I started blogging. So obviously I went on Google and I started searching how to blog, what is blogging, do
Yeah.
people make money from blogging. These things I just randomly started looking at it. And then I realized that, okay, there is something known as search engine optimization, SEO.
Yeah. SEO.
And to do that, I need to pay a much higher plan in WordPress.com, but it is free in .org. Then I
Oh, okay.
decided, okay, let's shift to .org, because
Yeah.
you can also put in plugins as well.
Yeah.
It's a very open-ended, where you can put in plugins, you can customize it a lot. You don't need to be dependent on the plan of WordPress.com. So that is when I shifted to WordPress.org, and it was actually really good. Whatever I wanted, I could just there would be already a plugin made by someone else, and I could just plug that with my website, and it will start working.
Yeah.
But then again, I realized that what I was doing, it was not for money. It was for my pleasure itself. That's
Fun.
it. I didn't want it to earn any money from my blog. So I realized that why am I putting so much effort for something which is just for fun? So what was happening is that I've also written a blog on it. It was titled "Losing Focus," where I realized that my whole focus was going towards creating an email list, towards getting more views and towards how my blog looks rather than more focus on what the content is.
Mm.
So then I decided, okay, this is not working out. I should simplify it rather than having so many options. Having less is more. This is my
Yeah.
another blog which I wrote where I explain this journey. So that is when I shifted from, I think, .org to a platform called Post7, and
Mm-hmm.
that was very simple. Only thing which you had was there was tracking of site and there was also email list. That's it. I don't think any other plugins we could put in. But again, Post7, there was some technical issues where the payment was getting filled again and again. And again, there was a question that should I really pay for something which when I'm just doing it for fun and
Yeah.
not for earning money? So why to, like, the typical value investor inside me was like, why should I even pay even 1 rupee if it's just for fun? Then finally, I now currently I'm at using GitHub Pages,
Wow.
which one of my cousins suggested me. Um, and I think it's working very fine. It's fine because there is no site tracking, there is no SEO optimization which I can do, and there is no email list. So all I can do is just go and
Right.
it's a static website. So I just go and put whatever I've written, and that's it. Now I don't know how many people are reading it, what is happening, no problem. It's just like a proof of work. If I'm going to someone and they're asking me, oh, have you read this topic, and I've already written about it, I just say you can visit my website, and I've written it there. So I think GitHub Pages is working fine for me because the concept of less is more beneficial, because I'm not in for the money. So it's fine if I don't know how many people are reading, because I can share it to via Twitter. Twitter is a platform where I have my audience. So I think there is no need for getting into the nitty gritties of how many people are reading, or is it at the top or not, because I'm not putting any ads there, so it's fine.
Got it. Got it. Fantastic. Did you like code your website through GitHub Pages, or how did that happen? Like,
No,
is it?
no, no. So I have zero knowledge about coding. So
Yeah.
GitHub Pages provide you a feature that is called fork. So I could just fork someone else's website, and I would
Okay.
get
Okay.
all the codes in my yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
So there was initial pain. I had to learn what is GitHub and all, but
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
it's very simple. I know how to put a post there. So, but my recommendation to anyone would be just go with WordPress.com,
Yeah.
because why to go through the trouble of even setting up the GitHub pages. So it's
Yeah.
WordPress.com is generally fine, works for everyone.
Fantastic. Fantastic. How did how did you start writing for SOIC? Right? How did that happen? You just mentioned that you got connected with Ishmoit sir through your CCL blog. Right? How did that work process follow?
So SOIC, I'm very thankful to SOIC and Ishmoit Arora, and even Siddhant Nautiyal is there. Sarthak is also there in team.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful to the whole SOIC team, because uh, I met Ishmoit Arora. I think it was my CCL blog, and I used to share it on Value Picker and on my blog as well. And one day, what happened? As I mentioned, that the algorithm keeps tracking you. Suddenly, on my YouTube, a video pops up, which is by Ishmoit Arora, and he was talking about CCL products. So I went in the video, I watched it, everything, and then I emailed him that, can you tell me where you got this data from? Can we have a discussion and all? So he was very humble, and he was very open to a discussion. And then we got over a phone and we discussed the idea of CCL products. And when I spoke to him, that's when I realized ki, okay, there is a lot to learn. So
Yeah.
from stage 2 I went to stage 3. I was like, I know everything what I was. And at that time I was having 75% of my portfolio in CCL products. So I was
Wow.
like a rookie mistake here, having a concentrated bet because I thought I knew it all.
Yeah.
And as soon as I spoke to him, I realized, okay, there is a lot
Lot to
to
learn. Got
learn. Correct. And there are so many things what I don't know. So you don't know what you don't know, right? So that
Yeah.
concepts also hit me very hard. So that is when I decided to change my philosophy a little bit. Uh, and then Ishmoit, I started asking questions to Ishmoit, and he was like, let's do one thing. Why don't you start writing for us, and in return we can answer all your questions, and we can provide you any material which you need while researching.
Got it.
So I thought it was a good deal, because
Learning
I'll
opportunity.
get yeah, I'll get someone to learn from, and in that process I can also improve my writing.
Correct.
So that is when I wrote my first blog, that was on broking industry, how broking
Wow.
in India is changing,
Yeah.
and followed by that blog on ICICI Securities. So that is where I think we it all started. Then I started writing, and then I think I met him in Delhi when I came back after COVID, and it's been very wonderful interacting with him. So he's been very helpful. Now, though I'm out of market, so the interaction is very it has reduced substantially because I've stopped investing directly in stocks. But he was in the front end of my learning process of investing.
Fantastic. Now talk about the thing that why you like not actively investing directly into the markets. Like, why did you decide to do that, and what are the advantages of doing that as well?
So the decision, first of all, it was a very tough decision because
Yeah.
I had been reading about it for it, I think 4 years or something, and suddenly I had to take this call. It was very tough decision, but uh, the criteria which I had for my decision was, first of all, was like I had also written about this in my blog,
Mm-hmm.
and there also I had mentioned that one of the reason is like boxes in life concept, which I was talking about, that there are only certain number of things you can do in your you can give your attention to. So one of my boxes in life is law, of course, because that is what I am pursuing, and that is where I need to build a career up on, because I'm not from from a business family where even if I don't work, uh, I can survive on family's income. That is not what I want to do. So being independent is your first criteria. So to be independent, you must have some income. So
Correct.
to generate income, of course, we get into the job market and we
Yeah.
try to get a job. To get a job, I think law was my only option. And so there I realized that one of the compulsory boxes is law, where I need to pay attention. And then investing, and then writing, and then other stuffs which you want to do also comes in. So I
Mm.
realized that it's so, if even like a lot of people portrayed it in 2020 that investing is very easy, but soon I realized the time and effort which I was putting in, it was maybe because of let's say lockdown, or maybe I'm in college right now, that's why I have so much time.
Mm.
But as soon as I'll shift towards the job market, where or I'll start working, the time will reduce substantially. So if I want to, so there is limited time, 24 hours, so
Yeah.
half of the time would be gone for my job. Then there are other aspects Rohit Chauhan had written two articles on this topic, which were really great articles, which also helped me take the decision. So he mentioned that money should not be the only reason why you're in market, because you're putting in so much effort. There is
Yeah.
this putting in this much effort just for money doesn't make sense. There are other ways you can do it. So you can work in your career itself, like Warren Buffett mentions, the best investment you can make is in yourself. So
Correct.
I think putting in more effort towards your field is much more fruitful rather than spending hours and hours on a fixed amount of capital, because at the age which I am, I don't have that much capital where I can just retire right away.
Correct.
So the capital is also so market में पैसे से ही पैसा बनेगा. I
Mm.
can't if I have hundreds of crores right now, then maybe
Makes
it
sense.
makes sense to
Yeah.
just yeah, leave everything and keep reading about it and just go. But right now I'm in the stage of my life where I have to make the capital. That
Correct.
will be my foundation. Plus one of the advice which one of my mentor also gave was that this profession is very lonely profession. So it's you just sit in front of your laptop, you keep reading about the companies, and you can go out and interact, but that's all you can do. So दुनियादारी नहीं सिखा सकता है profession. That is मतलब सिखा सकता है, but it's very मतलब at the early age it doesn't make sense to leave your law career and
Correct.
shift to investing, and because आप
Yeah.
दुनियादारी का part skip कर दोगे कि कैसे कैसे चल रहा है सब कुछ. तो this was there. And then one very good point which Rohit Chauhan was mentioned was that the additional hours which we are spending on investing, we are letting go of other opportunities in our life.
Mm.
So generally लोग जब decision लेते हैं तो बस देखते हैं कि अच्छा ओके पढ़ाई and investing, but there are
Yeah.
other fun activities as well. So
Correct.
going out with friends, uh, having tea with them, having a partner in your life, being in a relationship. These are all aspects of life which everyone should enjoy. So if I'm spending so much time in investing, I had to let go of these opportunities. So I
Yeah.
used to be in my library lot of time. I used to attend classes, then I used to go to library, and I used to skip these events which used to happen. So I realized that okay, at the early 20s, if I miss out on these things, uh, there might be
Then you might
regrets
not get
later
the
in life.
opportunity to do those things in the later part. Yeah.
Correct. So there is, so जैसे typical parents जो advice देते हैं कि time होता है हर चीज का,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that hit me hard, very hard. That अगर मैंने अभी ये सब miss कर दिया, and end of the day किस चीज के लिए miss कर रहा हूँ? It's like you're just doing for that ex additional 2-3% alpha. So
Yeah.
I realized that 2-3% alpha is not really worth it, because the memories which I might make right now, they
Yeah.
will stay with me for a very long, for the lifetime.
Yeah.
And the energy which I should put towards improving myself in law is far more superior than learning investing.
Correct.
Now basics I have covered, so I know mutual funds kya hota hai, ETFs kya hota hai. I can work there and I can go through mutual funds, because अगर आप data भी देखोगे तो it's very
Mutual funds have
difficult to
kind of
beat market.
outperformed them. Yeah.
हाँ, करेक्ट. तो मार्केट को बीट करना भी बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है. तो व्हेन आई मेट राजेश शेखर सर अय्यर, even he had mentioned in his PPT that getting market returns is very much possible, but to get that 2-3% alpha, you need to put in disproportionately larger efforts.
Correct.
एंड ये जो लार्जर एफर्ट्स होते हैं ना, ये आपको सुनने में तो लग रहा है कि हाँ ओके, मैं रात भर कॉन कॉल पढ़ लूंगा, वो सब कर लूंगा, बट देर आर सो मेनी एस्पेक्ट्स टू इट. कुछ लोग स्कटल बट करते हैं, तो स्कटल बट के लिए आपको ट्रैवल करना पड़ेगा. कुछ लोग दूसरे इन्वेस्टर से बात करते हैं, कुछ लोग इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट से बात करते हैं. समटाइम्स जो पोर्टफोलियो मैनेजमेंट स्कीम्स होती हैं, वो लोग फंड मैनेजर्स जो होते हैं, दे हायर एक्सपर्ट्स फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री एंड दे ट्राई टू लर्न अबाउट द इंडस्ट्री. तो ये सब आप नहीं कर सकते अगर आपके पास एक करियर है, स्पेशली अ करियर लाइक लॉ which is very famous for long working hours. So sometimes we need to work from 12 to 16 hours a day. तो अब अगर if I'm working 12 hours a day and then I come home and I try to study about investing, it's going to be very hectic for me uh, to
Correct.
go further in life. Rather, I should spend more time in learning what the current law is and improve in that. And it's not like I'm not hungry for money ki 5,000 ko 5,000 crore bana dena hai. Law is also a very good profession. It's a very prestigious profession. So I thought ki early stages of life I should focus on building my foundation rather than building 26% CAGR on a small capital. I should focus on making sure that the foundation which I'm learning is very solid, and further in life, when the how time plays out, I'll see how life goes on. But right now my focus has been on my career.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think you summarized it all really well. Right. So,
Yeah.
well, apart from that, what all things are you tracking currently, right?
Currently, I think I'm investing through mutual funds. So
Yeah.
two things I'm bullish on is India and gold. So why India is because if you look at the other markets, Russia
Yeah.
has become uh, as the term which if you read on internet, it's been the age of weaponization,
Yeah.
which you would come across on internet, because Russia has become uninvestable because of the Ukraine war thing,
Yeah.
where the foreign reserves were blocked and now they don't know what to do. So China has become uninvestable because of political issues which they are having, and of
Correct.
course the COVID happened and people realized that supply chain has to be uh, diversified. Then Europe has become uninvestable because if you read about the recent blunder which happened, Credit Suisse got merged with UBS, and what happened? This merger happened without the approval of shareholders,
Hmm.
because uh, the entity which is the regulator for the banking sector there, they have a in their regulations they have a section where they can, in cases of public interest, they can, without the approval of shareholders, they can merge one entity with some other entity if they suspect that there is systemic risk. So that is what happened here. Credit Suisse got merged with UBS, and Saudi National Bank had 6 months prior to this crash had invested $1.5 billion in for a 9.9% stake, and their
Sure.
approval was not taken.
Mm.
So what does this show us? This shows us that Switzerland, which was one of the top countries where investors used to believe that it is safe for investors,
Yeah.
now they have shown that okay, now they will think twice before investing, because their money can vanish. 80% of value have been lost by Saudi National Bank on their investment, and their approval or opinion, nothing was taken. So this is where their Europe is becoming a little bit as non-investable, not wholly, but little bit. I'm not, whatever
Yeah.
I'm saying, it's not like a rule or something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just the mindset,
Brief idea
how
about it.
everything is
Yeah.
correct. It's like a brief idea. And even in US, we can see inflation is becoming sticky. First, Fed came and they were saying that inflation is transitionary, which is not at all true. And we can see that if I came across this person, Ritesh Jain, the Brave New World talk, which got very famous.
Mm-hmm.
I think there he talks a good at good brief length where he's mentioning why inflation is getting sticky in US because of the all the energy sources are going out and oil is getting over, and now new energy sources required. Until then, it's going to be sticky. So US is also getting very not, like, we can't say
Non-invest.
uninvestable, but
Yeah.
there are problems in there. And if you look at other countries, Bangladesh is not so well with technology. If you would have if you are tracking VIP industries, I remember
Yeah.
reading it a few years back where they mentioned about Bangladesh, that how difficult it is to set up a factory there. It took 7 years for them to just set up a factory because how backward the technology was. So Bangladesh is not a country which can support these supply chains. Then Sri Lanka went into crisis. Pakistan is facing their own issues. China plus one theme came in because they realized we cannot depend on China. So I think India seems a very good option for this is just macroeconomics, not
Yeah.
specific stocks. So India seems a very good option where we might have these scales, and even the wages in China have increased recently. So we might be in a perfect spot where we have the population to work on, and we also have a stable government. So I think India seems a very good option overall in the macro aspect. So yeah, that is how I am bullish on India. And talking about gold is again the foreign reserves which got freezed by Russia, which made the world realize that, I think Ritesh Jain sir has talked about this a lot, where the world realized that okay, what if we are against US someday, and the same thing happens with us, which
Mm.
led to, if you look at the data, Q3 of 2022,
Yeah.
central banks made a record purchase of gold. So
Mm.
this is a very good sign where you can see that foreign reserves are reducing, and that money is being shifting to gold.
Mm.
So you can understand that okay, this won't happen overnight, like the
Yeah.
concept of de-dollarization as well, where a new currency might come up and that currency might be backed by gold, or some part of it might be backed by gold. But this is not an overnight thing. I'm investing in gold for I hold so full disclosure, I hold gold in my portfolio, and I'm investing it for the long term. It's nothing for a 2-3 month period. It's very maybe more than 5 years. So 3 to 5 years, let's say. So yeah, that is why I think these are few aspects, I think. And one more thing would be the Fed interest rate. So
Yeah.
as like today, if you mentioned the RBI did not raise their interest rates, and if you we need to track what Federal Reserve is also doing, because historically, I'm not saying this might happen, but historically, whenever Federal Reserve has stopped raising their interest rate, gold has performed very well,
Yeah.
because people stop investing in debt instruments and they move into more higher yield instruments like equity or gold. So I think that would be another trigger for gold to look forward to. So yeah, these are the two things I'm currently bullish on.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think I really like enjoyed conversing with you for the like half an hour, and it was really a learning experience to talk with. Glad hosting to you. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Sir.
Thank you so much for having me, Jay. Looking forward to interacting with you again.
Great, great.